This was pivotal for me. I stopped asking life what it can give to me because I was always suffering, and I gave to myself. And I realized and I shifted a belief that people need to give to me and life needs to give to me. I shifted that to I'm the only one that can give to myself. I'm the only one that can be there for myself. I'm the only one. Hello, everyone. Welcome, well, not welcome back because this is my first episode. Welcome to the Love Beneath podcast. I am your host, Mina Zia Sheikh Al Islami. Try saying that 3 times fast. And I've been wanting to do this forever. And if you follow me on TikTok or Instagram, so many of you have messaged me, do you have a podcast? Can I listen to it? I've been wanting to have a podcast for so long, and I want to share with you today kind of my journey of how I've come to this point. But I just had so many issues with consistency. That's always been a problem of mine. I am a dreamer, innovator, a creative. And then when it comes time to actually doing something consistently, that's where I can fall flat sometimes. But some things have happened to me in my life the last 6 months that have really changed my life around, or have given me the opportunity to change my life around. And now I am so excited. I have proven to myself for the last almost 7 months now that I can do this and I can be consistent. And yeah, so I'm just really excited. If you're watching this on YouTube, please give me a like, leave a comment, share it, save it, engage with this video, really help me out. Subscribe for more. I'm also planning to have this as a podcast on all of the podcast platforms. So if you're listening, give me a review. Would really appreciate it. So we already covered. My name is Mina. I am a spiritual coach, Akashic record reader, and a meditation teacher. And I also make meditation music specifically designed to help you connect with the spiritual side of you, whether that is feeling into past life memories or enhancing your intuition, speaking with your spirit guides, anything that you need help with. I probably have a song on it. Right now, the only way you can listen to my songs are if you join my membership called Solos, which will be in the description below, also in the show notes. I am working on having little mini courses where I just give you a few songs that are pertinent to whatever the thing is that you're working on. So that's coming in the future. I'm working on, for example, grief. So I'll have a meditation that is designed to help you move through grief, and then will be some of my songs that are specifically designed to help you do that. I am not a therapist. I am not a licensed mental health professional. This is all coming from the energy side of things. So of course it will be geared toward that. And anything I say on here, I will be sharing some of my journey with mental illness and things like that. This is all my opinion. This is my personal journey. This is in no way medical advice or anything like that. Please seek a medical or mental health professional if you need it. Before I started this, I asked all of you on Instagram to tell me something that you want me to touch on this podcast. And some of you had, well, all of you had amazing ideas. And some of you had questions on me personally, if I could share more of my journey, some behind the scenes things, and why I changed my company name. My company used to be Your Soul Warrior. Now it is Love Beneath. So I want to start with all of that. The best way I can describe myself is that most people are born with a veil that separates them, I hate to say like 3D, but their human self. And there are certain things, obviously, we see with our eyes, we hear with our ears, right? We taste with our mouths. And that version of us, I'll call that the material aspect of us, which is much different than the spiritual aspect of us, the part of us that is operating in a different dimension, a different realm, that can sense spirits, that can speak to spirit guides, that can sense our intuition, that can know and see and communicate with energies like trees and grass and different aspects of the land. For most people, there is a veil that separates that you can choose to open see through that veil and connect with that, or you don't have to. I was not born with that separation. That's the best way I can describe it. I always felt the energy of the land beneath me. I always felt that trees were were conscious and beings. And I could go on and on. I can't tell you how many times I felt that rocks were talking to me, and that I felt that the sky was speaking to me, and the sky was always looking at me, and smiling down at me, and the wind whipping past my hair was consciously doing that. I was so in tune with everything. And I want to share just 2 stories that kind of really illustrate this. And I think the reason I want to share this is because you'll see later why I shut this down, and how I want to iterate how devastating the fact that I shut that down really was for me. And I think that a lot of you share this same story, which is why I want to share this too. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see that I'm looking down a lot. I'm just looking at my notes to make sure I didn't miss anything. The first story I want to share is when I was in preschool, I made this friend, and this is one of my first memories ever. And she was so cool. I was 4 years old. She was so cool. I felt a soul connection with her, which I didn't know at the time that that's what I was feeling, but I felt a soul connection with her. And I went home from school, like the preschool one day. I guess that's still school, but it's like you're there for like 3 hours. I went home and I asked my mom, why can't God see into other people's houses? And she said, well, God can see into everyone's house. And I spoke to her in this way because my mom's Catholic. She's not really practicing anymore. She's on the spiritual side of things now, but that's how she was raised. And so I felt the word God was the best word to use. And she said, well, God can see everywhere. And I said, well, then why can't I see, I don't want to use the actual name, I'll say Kelsey. Why can't I see into Kelsey's house right now? And my mom said, well, because you're not God. Only God can do that. And I was so confused because, again, I didn't know in my little baby brain what I was doing. But now as an adult, when I think back on it, I'm like, oh, I was trying to remote view into my friend's house. I wanted to see what my friend was doing because I felt so much love for her. And I wanted to see what she was doing and connect with her energetically. And I could not understand what my mom was saying with this distinction between me and God. Because to me, it's the same. It's all the same. There's no distinction. If God can see, then I can, because that's what I am. So that was one moment where I started to get really confused about who I was compared to who everyone else was. And I really started to understand that I am different, and not in a good way. Now, I'm not saying that that's the truth of it. I'm saying that in my little child brain that just wants to fit in, I started to understand that. You also have to understand that I went to a school of 93% white kids with last names, I don't know, Johnson and whatever, very easy names to understand. And my last name is Zia. My last name is 17 letters long, Zia Sheikh Al-Islami. And I already was so bullied for my first and last name. Kids always making fun of me. And, my dad's brown. He has an accent. I already was super aware that I was very different. And I just didn't want to be any more different than that already. Again, all of this is very subconscious. Only now that I can reflect on it, I can think, oh yeah, I was really trying to just be normal, be like the other kids. The second story is when I was in kindergarten. And I know my mom's going to be watching or listening to this. So I want to say right away, Mom, it's not your fault. And you know that I know it's not your fault. So to this day, she will cry thinking about this story. So I had show and tell in kindergarten, and I had found this really beautiful blue tile on the ground. And I cannot tell you, I felt the energy coming off of that tile. I felt the frequency, the vibration, whatever word you want to say. I felt a kinship with that color, and it felt alive to me. And so I showed my mom, look at this pretty rock. I didn't know it was a tile. I thought it was a rock. And of course, my mom is really good at preserving the magic. So she said, "Oh yeah, such a cool, pretty rock." She didn't know that I was going to be taking it to the show and tell. So I take it to the show and tell and show everyone my really pretty rock. And they all laugh at me saying that it's a tile. And I end up running out of the classroom crying. And of course, yeah, my mom always says now, if I would have known that you were going to be doing that, I would have told you it was a tile. I would have saved you from that. And I feel like that was a very pivotal moment in my life because once again, to me, this is a magical object. Who cares what the word is? Look at how beautiful this is. Look at what this invokes in you. I still remember what it invoked in me, this just beauty. I was in awe of this color of tile. It was the type of blue that is, if you've seen a lapis lazuli crystal, that color blue. So beautiful. And I just wanted to share it with everyone. Yeah, on one hand, it's sort of like, oh man, if only I would have known it was a rock. But on the other hand, now that I think about it as an adult and the adult that I am now, if I would have told this story last year, it would be different. But once again, as I said, the last 6 months, I've really gone through a major transformation. Now I can really see, I just saw beauty, and I was not the kind of child that, once again, the veil was not there for me. It doesn't even matter to me if it's tile or a rock or whatever. It's just this beautiful energy, and I want to share it with you. There are so many more stories. Those two, though, are probably the most pivotal moments where I started to slowly understand that, and also kindergarten and first grade. When we got to go outside, there were some trees that I really felt a lot of. I didn't know the word fae at the time, but I felt they were alive and they had spirits and they were talking to us. And so I would try to get the kids to go talk to these trees with me and bushes. And I just, kids would placate me or whatever. I could just feel that I was kind of one of the few that actually felt that this was real and true and not just a fun game that we're playing. And I just shut it down. Over time, I just started to feel like I'm a freak and I don't want to be different. I don't want to have this unique perspective of the world. I want to fit in. I already don't fit in culturally in many ways. And so I really want to fit in any other way that I possibly can. So this next part is super important because I think what I'm about to share with you has happened to a lot of people. And in my opinion, it's a big source of what we know now as mental illness. Again, I am not a licensed mental health professional. This is just my opinion and it's just my own personal stuff. So please take everything with a huge grain of salt. What I had to do was I had to energetically within myself denounce that spiritual side. I had to create a veil where there was not one. In effect, I had to sever that version of me and this version of me. They had to break apart. And I had to shove that aspect of me, which is the greater aspect of me, I had to shove that down. When I did that, and I have so many memories of looking at other children, analyzing their behavior and trying to copy it. Because I had shoved down 70% of who I am. And so now I'm just the 30% looking around thinking, what do I even do now? How do I even operate? And so those aspects of me separated, everything's an illusion, but your belief system rules everything. So my belief was, this is not a part of me that I want to be. So it needs to go away and I will create a new persona. So that aspect of me, imagine it just like getting buried deeper and deeper inside me. And this void of 70% of who I am is just sitting there now. So instead what I did was I to this day, I still do this and I have to catch myself and say, that's not what I do anymore. Now I just be who I am, regardless of how people are going to see me and view me. I will look and I'll find myself analyzing how someone's behaving. And will always be, growing up, it was always analyzing a kid who's popular, who a lot of people like, and who doesn't have any weird stuff about them. So their name is very easy to pronounce, and they are very, the way everything is very accepted. I would look at them, analyze them, and then I would try to behave like that. And I would try to do that. And it never really worked. So I just ended up always being in this state of dissociation where I was in denial of who I actually am and just trying to be other things that there was no validity in those. So it never felt true. So I just always felt like a phony, an imposter. And I was so ungrounded and so confused about who I am and just living in a complete state of dissociation. Fast forward to 2017, I was living in Los Angeles. I reconnected with the spiritual side of me finally. I found this yoga studio that was really cool, and I met a group of women there who taught me all about crystals and earth energy and all the things that I had shoved down and forgot about. As I started to learn more though and started to get deeper into the practice, it did almost feel like, man, I feel I already know this somehow, but I don't know how I know it. And I remember saying that a few times, even to my parents, when it comes to crystals. I feel like I understand this, but I don't know how I understand it. And I know it and I don't know how I know it. Really, I just didn't remember that I had just shoved it down, and I did already have this connection at one time. It almost felt like a past life thing. That's how far the memory was, until I started getting into it deeper and realizing, oh no, I just completely trashed all of my childhood memories because they reminded me of how I'm a freak, which I don't actually think I'm a freak, by the way. I'm just telling you how I used to feel. And so it just continued from there. I got super into crystals and spirit guides and tarot and just went totally all into this because it felt so right. And I remember it was the first time that I felt like something was really right. All through middle school, high school, college, I've just felt like I was playing a role and being so in the mind all the time, being so led by cerebral, I don't want to say logic because I don't think that that's very logical exactly. We talk about, what's logical and rational versus what's emotional as if those things are separate. In my opinion now, emotions are just as logical and rational. I mean, you can go off with your emotions and let them run away from you, but also you can let your mind run away from you. So I don't exactly know how to say it, but I lived in the mind and I cut off my emotions. So I was just always moving through life aimlessly. Took me forever to choose my major, took me forever to figure out what I wanted to do after college, took me forever to figure out everything. I was what I felt was a late bloomer, but really what was going on was I was so cut off from actually who I was that of course I don't have the power to choose a decision that actually feels aligned because I'm not aligned with myself. Back to 2017, I continued to do that for a few years. I moved to Denver end of 2019. And I know one person there, but I just felt that land was calling me. And so I was definitely into spirituality by this point. I had launched Your Soul Warrior, my company, in 2019, in January of 2019. So I already was in this, doing it professionally, doing tarot readings and spirit guide readings, things like that, and coaching and Vedic astrology. Those were the things I used to do. And then, the panorama hit. The shutdown happened and I found myself, again, I don't have any friends yet except one. I don't have a community yet. So I was basically just meditating every day, all day. And it really popped off after that. Spiritually for me, it popped off. And I had been dabbling with Akashic Record leading up to that point. Essentially, Akashic Record being your karmic lessons, your past lives, everything that is happening outside, everything that's happening for you in your life's history outside of what you can see in this physical reality. I was playing with that and I don't know how to say it, just chose me, I guess. It just started unfolding for me and I started getting so many past life memories and just this deeper level of wisdom I had tapped into inside me because I'm just meditating 6 hours a day. because I don't have community or friends really. And also it's a panorama, it's shut down and we got to stay inside. I'm saying panorama because I don't think we can still say the actual word. And that just continued. And it really, so the next year, 2021, it really picked up. And I like to say that June 2021 was where I could no longer repress that 70%. It already, these things take time. It already, ever since I got back into spirituality in 2017, it was happening. And I was into spirituality before then, but it was more, I always had faith and I always was a really good manifester, however you want to say it. Things always just happened for me and I always had a strong connection to my intuition. That was always. And I didn't really understand what I was doing or how I was doing it. It just was. 2017, I start fully going back into it. 2021, my 70% fully starts coming back to me. And all of those memories, so many childhood memories, so many painful childhood memories, so many things just flooding back to me. And I couldn't really control it. It just was all coming back. I want to start weaving in why I decided to change my company name now. Your Soul Warrior was created because of moments like this where something was happening to me. I felt it was happening to me and I had to be strong. And I did have to be strong. That was some of the hardest moments in my life have been those memories flooding back. And I know inside me there's nothing I can do about this. And I have to just breathe and let this come back to me. And, do my grounding work, do my somatic work, go see my therapist, all those things. And I really do believe that you always get who you need when you need them. So if you're listening to this or watching this and thinking, I feel like that's coming for me, I feel like I'm about to go through that transformation, but how would I even do that? The people will appear. The teachers, the helpers, the facilitators, they will appear. They will be there for you. You will come across them. You can't do this alone. You can't. I really do not think anyone can do this alone because you just don't know what you're doing and you need guidance. I really believe that whatever you need, you will get it when it comes to spiritual transformation. Going back to Your Soul Warrior, I felt that I had to be a warrior, a soul warrior. And I also felt that I needed to fight for others, fight for people who maybe don't have this direction. And I just wanted to be there for people. And I felt so, even though I had so much help, I still felt so alone. And I hate to see other people feeling alone because I know how much that hurts, especially when it comes to something like this, where a lot of other people think that this kind of stuff is like a hoax and not real. So that really sucks when you're going through something very real and people around you kind of saying that what you're going through is made up and is a hoax and you're crazy and you know that you're not crazy. It's just hard. And I really felt like I needed to be a soldier. And I did. I do not want to invalidate that. I did need to be a soldier and I did need to be a soul warrior. And I was a soul warrior. And I was for myself and I was for many others. And I don't take any of that back. Like that, I think so fondly of 2019 to 2024, right before I changed my company name. I look so fondly on those years because especially a lot of you watching this or listening to this, you have been with me since those years. And I mean, I could cry right now. Like that, man, my the first time I get a download, the first time I can channel, the first time I'm working with spirit guides, and the first time helping other people work with spirit guides and doing tarot and Akashic Record, just the discovery of everything. And I know it's so easy to say this in hindsight, but if you're just being activated to all of this now, please try your best to see the magic and the power of it, of the unknown, of going toward the unknown, because I was so caught up in my own pain and suffering and victimhood and woe is me and not knowing what was going to happen and being obsessed with just wanting to know what the road was going to be because it was so painful. I wish I could have had I didn't have the strength to be able to also feel the power and the magic of, I have no idea what's about to happen, but here I go. And that's how I show up to life now, which brings, so if you're in that, Please try. I know it's hard, but if you can at all find the wow, what a roller coaster. Let me put my hands up and go, wee. that that is it is magical. I know it sucks not knowing what's going to happen. It's so magical at the same time. And fast forward to now, in the last 6 months, I have truly come to a point where I have shifted a major belief system of mine. And this is hugely what I work with people on now, shifting belief systems, because no matter what, there is no objective truth at all, ever. It is all belief systems that change your perception of what's happening, and then corresponding, changing your habits in a corresponding way, and how you feel about things, how you think about things. Everything hinges on the belief system. That is like the root of everything. My belief system being life is happening to me and I need to be a soldier. So this kind of, good versus evil, or life is the storm and I'm the warrior with the sword, which again, I had to be that. That's the evolution. At least for me, that was the evolution. I couldn't be at that point and see the truth, my truth, in a deeper way, because I didn't have that spiritual strength and power yet. I had to go through all that to get it. So now I'm speaking to you today, 2025, in June 2025, and I have fully hit the deepest layer yet of myself, and it hit me this year. That's also the power of spiritual transformation, is you can know something. I knew forever that pain was part of love. I've known that since probably 2020. And there's a difference between knowing it, understanding it in your mind, and then knowing it in your bones. That's where I think you shift the belief fully. So all of this is progress over many years. And at least for me, I hit the belief system of this pain is expanding me. This pain is an agent of love. I cannot grow without this pain. And what is underneath this pain? It's love. Thus, my new company, Love Beneath, was born. This is where I operate now. I truly feel that everything is happening for me, even stuff that hurts so badly. And as I shared with you, I was in such a state of dissociation for so many years that I was incapable of forming actual connection. I have so many memories. I won't say regrets, because it all just had to happen the way it happened, and I can't take it back now. And there were so many moments, friendships, relationships in my 20s that I wish I would have been more rooted in myself, because those were really good people and really kind people, and I would have really liked to have shown up authentically in those connections, and I just couldn't. So some of those connections have now faded. Some have not. And I'm also blessed to have a lot of friends who have always seen me at the soul level, even when I didn't see myself at the soul level. And that is what I work on now, is how deeply can I feel this moment? How deeply can I feel connected to myself and to love in this moment, so that I can reflect that to the world and to this person that I'm with, who is reflecting the same back to me? Because I have so much experience with trauma bonds, with karmic relationships, things where there's just so much suffering, so much roller coaster. And now that I am clearly seeing those things, it's so rewarding to have connections with people where these people are showing up extremely authentically, and it's reminding me of my authenticity, or they show up with so much love and it's reminding me of the love inside myself. And it's just been hugely transformational to see life in that way. And this is now what I help people with in my coaching program, is let's identify the belief systems that are holding you back, because it's changing your perception of life. It's changing how you show up to life and how you receive what's happening in life, or not be able to receive in life. Let's get to the root of that. My process overview, identifying the belief system, sitting in it, honoring what we have to honor, any pain surrounding it, using the music that I make specifically to help in these moments shift to whatever we need to shift to, holding space for that, and then going out into the world and making new decisions based on that shifted belief system. So it's not easy, and I have gone through it. And I've helped a lot of people do it. So I know how to take your life from suffering, victimhood, nothing's working out, I feel stuck, to completely open every day to new experiences, new opportunities. You have a really good ability to receive, feel so full with love, and I'd say love and light because that's like sounds grifty, but it is that. It is, you stop at this was pivotal for me. I stopped asking life what it can give to me because I was always suffering, and I gave to myself. And I realized, and I shifted a belief that people need to give to me and life needs to give to me. I shifted that to, I'm the only one that can give to myself. I'm the only one that can be there for myself. I'm the only one that can complete myself. And so energetically, and I'll do a totally different episode on this, but energetically, you go from pulling to emanating to shining. And when you do that, you are extremely attractive to other people and experiences, and you're not only are you good at being open to that, but then you're good at receiving because you're not actually trying to get anything from anybody. You already have it. So it's this state of peace that even when you're shaken from it, when life happens, some of you know my soulmate pet just passed away. So that was an example of it shook me to my core. And of course, you go through the pain and like, why did this happen? That's human. And having changed these belief systems quickly allowed me to see the deeper truths and to move with the pain as something that helps me expand versus something that's trying to attack me and keep me down. So yeah, my offer is now under Love Beneath. It's the same stuff, just through kind of a different lens. The coaching, as I mentioned, that's what I'm focused on now, is how do we create a life for you where you are the light emanating in as a human, right? Like we're not taking the humanity out of it. And how do you shift that from understanding that pain is trying to help you? How do you shift all of those things so that you can start feeling that life is working with you and not against you? Becoming more attractive. I like to say becoming magnetic, becoming main character, whatever words you want to use. So that's what my program focuses on. And then, of course, deepening your spiritual gifts, intuition, whatever other gifts you have, and adopting a daily practice and just making that more of a priority in your life to enhance your life. And then I also do Akashic record reading still. That's my baby. That's my love, my number one. And the next episode is going to be Akashic records. So I'm going to speak to you more about that in the next one. So we'll be discussing a wide range of topics. You can always feel free to message me if you have a topic that you want me to discuss. I'll have my info in the description below or in the show notes, wherever you're taking this in. And it's just a place for you to come and get back in tune with yourself, and a place to hear about topics from a different perspective. And you can always, feel free to take it or leave it. Like I said before, there's no objective truth. I'm sharing with you what my truth is at this time, which could always change. And you are invited to listen to what I'm saying and decide for yourself if it works for you or not. The schedule is going to be Monday, Thursdays. So every Monday, every Thursday. I would love to have a Monday through Friday. I just want to keep working on consistency, and I don't want to set myself up for failure. So for now, it's going to be Monday, Thursday. If you want even more, you can join my membership solo. So it'll be below the link. So just a little extra stuff for you if you're interested in this kind of stuff. Thank you all for being here. Again, if you're watching from YouTube, please subscribe, like it, comment, do all the things. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.